What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Low-Key, and today I'm about to be showing you guys how to take your live performances to the next level using the SP404mk2. I've been playing my beats live on the SP404 since I was about 14 or 15 years old. And now fast forward to today, I'm ready to show you guys my different techniques and tricks that I like to use whenever I'm playing live. And if you don't have an SP404mk2, don't leave just yet, because a lot of these tricks and techniques can be applied to the different generations of SP404s. So with that being said, let's get into it. All right, so the first thing that I want to talk about in this video is DJ mode versus triggering your beats with the pads. So when you hold D and J, that takes you to DJ mode, and this is a great mode for performing your beats. It really makes it a lot easier for you to make smooth transitions and really merge the different BPMs of your tracks together so that the crowd can bob their head or dance to the music at a consistent rate without really being caught off guard with these abrupt BPM changes. Now, this mode is great, but I feel like there's a huge focus on creating a smooth transition. I feel like there's a lot of, oh, let me go ahead and load this beat up on this side. All right, let me go ahead and load this beat up on this side. All right, let's go ahead and make sure that this one is matching the BPM. It's just so much stuff that you're thinking about, and it's taking a lot of thought process from actually using the effects that this device has to offer. So let's go ahead and get out of DJ mode, and let's talk about the pad triggers. So if you had your beats on an individual pad, so say for example, pad 1, pad 2, pad 3, pad 4, those are 4 different beats. The thing with that is that it's just a 0 to 100 transition. There's no like smooth transition in between that. So we're going to go ahead and talk about how to create those smooth transitions. And before we do that, I also want to go back to DJ mode. I know that you can be effective with the way that you use DJ mode. If you load a beat up on the left side, you can go ahead and immediately get your beat ready on the other side, and go ahead and get that mixed and get the BPM right. Then you can go ahead and use your effects for DJ mode. But I feel like it's just a lot easier for me, or it just makes a lot more sense when I use the pads to trigger the beats. So let's go ahead and talk about how you can create those smooth fade in transitions when you're triggering your beats from the pads. Say for example, we're playing pad 13.
Due to technical difficulties beyond our control.
And now we want to play the beat that's on pad 14. What most people would do is probably something like this. Just play the beat and, and this one, start this one at the same time. Start it at a point that makes sense, like at the one of the next bar or something. But that's like the easiest transition that you can do. It may take a little bit of skill because your timing has to be on point, but it's a pretty easy transition, and that is what it is. It's not really anything special. It's not going to really wow any people or catch them off guard, or it might catch them off guard actually, because it's an abrupt change. But there's ways that you can really smoothen this out. So for example, say we were playing pad 13 and we wanted to fade pad 14 in. So let's go ahead and do that.
Due to technical difficulties beyond
one thing that you can do is trigger pad 14. So let's trigger it on the point that makes sense. We're going to be triggering pad 14 on the 1 or on the 3, basically wherever there's a kick drum being played on pad 13, because we don't want to just go ahead and play that one pad. If it's like a huge kick drum, everybody's going to hear that, everybody's going to feel that, and they're going to know what you're doing, or they're going to say, what was that like loud noise, or what is he doing? So one thing that you can do is
due to technical difficulties
play it
beyond our control.
And all I did was I just hit the pad really fast. They barely even heard that. And I did it on the kick drum, so it's like it kind of matches the kick drum. Now you can go ahead, hit pitch/speed, and lower the volume down. Now when you press that pad, y'all not hearing nothing. But as we play the pad and raise the volume, we can get a smooth transition. And there you go. You have a smooth transition that's a little bit easier on the ears. There's a way that you can actually clean this up a lot more, and I'm going to show you guys just that right now. So say for example, we had pad 13 playing, but we didn't want to go ahead and hint to the audience the next pad that we're about to play. One thing that you can do is hold shift and press 3. That's going to allow you to monitor the next pad in your headphones, or you can just see what beat is going to be played or what track is going to be played with the name right here being displayed. That's useful, but there's also another use that I like to use this for, and that's to arm that pad. So we're going to just hit that pad, and now pad 14 is armed. So when I hit pitch and speed, it's going to affect pad 14. If I change the pitch, it's going to affect pad 14. So with that being said, we're going to play pad 13 again. And this time, shift +3. We're going to arm pad 14, exit, pitch and speed, lower the volume. And there you go, a smooth transition. I kind of rushed right there just because, we're making a video, but that's one way that you can arm that pad without the audience really hearing what you're doing. Now that's a really smooth transition, and it almost sounds like you're in DJ mode. I think it's really important for me to mention that when I load my beats up on these pads, I have tons and tons of beats on this project right here. This is like somewhere like around 60 beats on this project. The way I have this set up is the BPMs are all pretty similar, okay? So I don't want it to have a BPM of 80 on this pad than a BPM of 100 because it's gonna be pretty hard to transition that in smoothly. And if you wanted to, you'll probably have to use the pitch to actually slow it down and transition it that way. But that's a lot of work right there that you can avoid if you just set your beats up in an order that makes sense. So let's talk about a way that we can fade this in using effects. So say for example, we had another beat playing. Let's go to, let's do pad 9 and pad 10. So say for example, we had pad 9 playing. And we want to go ahead and transition into pad 10. One thing that we can do, hold remain and take pad 9 off of all the buses. So now it's not on any effect buses. And this is going to allow us to add effects to this pad without affecting pad 9. So let's go ahead, let's trigger this pad, bam. We can also turn on the isolator. We're going to have the mids and the highs playing. We can hit pitch and speed to turn it down. And transition. And now the bass frequencies aren't clashing. And then go ahead and just transition into it. So that might take a little bit of practice, and there's some things that you need to do to make this a smooth transition. One of them is you need to turn off the isolator, because when you actually transition to that beat, you want people to feel the bass. So you need to go ahead, turn off the isolator, and you also need to turn the previous pad that's playing off. So basically what I'm thinking about in my mind is, okay, when I want to make this transition, all I need to do is hit all these pads at the same time. I need to hit this pad, pad 9, to turn it off. I need to hit this pad, pad 10, to trigger the next beat. And I need to hit the isolator to turn it off. So just like that. So these are definitely techniques that you are going to have to practice a little bit just to get used to them. But once you get used to it, then you can take it to the live stage and actually wow some people. So the isolator isn't the only thing that you can do that with. You can also do that with, say, for example, the filter. So I press filter and drive, but I actually have this routed to the super filter. And what we can do is raise the frequency or raise the cutoff all the way up to 100. And that is going to play the tippy top highs of the frequency board. So now we can go ahead and play this one. We're jamming out. And now you just kind of hear that. If you know what beat it is, you're gonna know, what it sounds like and what's happening. But as you get ready for that transition, lower the cutoff. And there you go, a smooth transition. Now there's more ways that you can utilize the different buses to create these smooth transitions. Say for example, we're playing pad 12 and pad 13. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the effects bus on the pad that's playing, and the pad that I'm transitioning in, I'm going to leave that one dry. So say for example, we have pad 12 playing, and we want to transition in pad 13. What we can do, hold remain, and now pad 13 is white. That means no effects are going to affect this one. We can jam out. All right, so we can jam out whatever. And then when it's time for us to do a transition, we can do a transition with these effects. So one effect that I like to do is the DJ effects looper. If we hold the control knob in the middle, we can do something like this. 1, 2, 3. And that's a really easy transition that you can do. Always make sure that you get everything back to its proper order. You can put it back on the bus. And say, for example, we want to do another one. Another effect that you can use is reverb. So we want this one to have a reverb tail out. What we're going to do now, on bus 1, we're going to trigger the reverb. And there you go, a smooth transition. Let's try one more. We can do something like, you can also do that with the delay. So the effect is going to affect the pad that's playing. 1, 2, 3. And now you can just go ahead and play this one without worrying about the delay affecting the next pad. So that's one way that you can create these smooth transitions using effects by utilizing the different buses. You can also just send, instead of sending this one to a dry bus, you can just send it to bus 2, and now you can have 2 different effects. So there's multiple ways that you can create these smooth transitions with your effects. But moving on, let's actually talk about my go-to effects whenever I'm performing with the SP404. So, you know, the SP has tons and tons of effects available, but not all of them are really appropriate in a live performance setting. So for this section, I'm going to tell you about 5 or 6 different effects that I like to use whenever I'm performing live. So I feel like DJ Effects Looper is one of the best effects on the SP, but it's also really easy for you to just overdo it because you're not really letting the beat breathe, basically. Like, you might know how the beat sounds, but the audience doesn't. So it's really important to let the beat breathe and do it at a tasteful moment. Something like this. That's like a tasteful DJ Effects Looper. And try to really focus on the timing as well. Try to have a metronome playing in your head and trigger that DJ Effects Looper on the correct point. Just like that. So since most of my beats are around 80 to 90 BPM, I noticed that whenever I have the DJ Effects Looper length at 0.22 or 0.23, I can create these nice rolls with the snare drum or with the kick drum, and they sound pretty on point. So let me go ahead and show you. I'm gonna put the length at 2.2 or 0.22. Pop, pop, pop. It's really important to let that snare drum play and then trigger it. You can also do it on the kick drum. So DJ Effects Looper is a great one. Another one that I like to use is the SX Reverb. So I have my SX Reverb mapped out to the resonator button, just because I use this a lot more than the resonator. So one way that I like to use the SX Reverb is a way for me to like extend, say for example, a clap. So I like to do that whenever the clap plays or a snare plays. just trigger that SX reverb, and it's gonna create like a big tail for the clap. And go ahead and turn it off once you want the tail to end. And you know, it's really easy for the beat to get drowned out by the reverb, so it's really important to make sure you do that. Another way is, of course, as a way to transition into a beat. But say for example, we had a transition within a beat. What I like to do is I can just turn the reverb on, turn the balance all the way to the left. And on this beat, I have a part where we have Redman talking. So I'm gonna raise the reverb right way up. And it's gonna be a great transition. That easy. Those are a couple ways I like to use the reverb. So moving on, we have the isolator. This is an effect that has multiple uses. We could use it to isolate certain frequencies. So say for example, we just want the mids playing. This is how it comes already triggered. We can do something like that. You can also use it for a mute out. Do your mute outs. And it's just a really handy effect to use, whether if you're doing a mute out or if you're doing a, you know, just isolating the mids and highs. Really good effect, you know, especially for transitions. Another one that I have is the SBF. So this one is if you hold MFX and press pad 7, that's the SBF. Let's go ahead and see how this sounds. So this one, it's a little bit weird. So this one is a little bit weird because it lowers the volume of the beat. So sometimes whenever I'm playing with that one, I kind of just bump up the volume while it's active and then bring it right back down. I know it sounds a little bit tedious, but I really like the way that it's like a delayed, atmospheric kind of sound to it. I don't know how to explain it. So the next effect is actually a combo, and it's like a combo that you just hit the audience with, and it doesn't work with every beat, but that combo is backspin plus chromatic pitch shift. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna play pad 14, and we have to actually get this combo ready. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and hit backspin, and it's off right now. It's really important to make sure it's off. But what you want to do is bring the speed to around like 30, 20, 25, somewhere around there. After you have that set up, you also want to go ahead and set up the pitch shift, the chromatic pitch shift. So that's on pad 9. It's really important to know where these pads are at because it's a combo that you really have to do kind of fast. So backspin is MFX plus isolator plus number 4. That's backspin. And then chromatic pitch shift is MFX plus DJFX looper plus pad 9. Okay. You also have to get chromatic pitch shift ready. So what I like to do is get this to pitch 1. I like to get that at -2. -2 semitones. Pitch 2, we're going to get that to +3 semitones. And for balance, we're going to put that at 100% all the way to the right side. So now it's going to create this, I don't know how to explain it. It sounds scary sometimes, but yeah, I'm going to show you guys how this combo sounds, show you guys how I do it. Let's see. So we got it playing. And then there you go. Now this one, again, this one lowers the volume. Chromatic pitch shift lowers the volume of your track. So it's really important to make sure that you bump that volume up. So let's go ahead and try that one more time. But this time, let's bump the volume up. And just raise it up. Just try to match it up. So let's try that one more time. this one doesn't sound as good in my opinion. So yeah, that beat doesn't really sound good with the chromatic pitch shift, and that's why it's important to just experiment before you go on stage and try to do these tricks. See which beats these techniques work with, and try to formulate a nice strategy when you're up there. Moving on, we have the phaser, the chorus, and the flanger. We have phaser, MFX, DJ Effects Looper plus Pad 5. Just a way to add movement to the beat. We can do the same thing with the chorus. Just widens out the beat. Same thing with the flanger. So yeah, the last effect that I like to use, and the way that I use this is actually a little bit different, is we have to make sure that our bus effects are set up the proper way. So the way I've had this set up the whole time is with bus 1 and bus 2 not affecting each other. So for this to work, we have to switch this to bus 1, then bus 2, and that's because what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and on bus 2, we're gonna have an equalizer. And I like to use this as a way to just equalize my beats whenever I'm playing live. Sometimes beats have too much bass. Sometimes they have too many highs. Sometimes there's just a huge contrast from highs and lows from one beat to another. And I like to use the equalizer to just go ahead and correct that. So it's pretty self-explanatory. You're using it like a mixer almost as a way to mix your beats. Either take out highs, add bass. And understand what frequencies you're actually affecting, all right? So I like to just go ahead and use the equalizer as a way to equalize the mix. All right, so that's going to do it for this video. That's just a handful of different techniques and tricks that I like to use whenever I'm using my SP404 Mark II. Hopefully you guys gain some insight and inspiration and gain the courage to do some of these tricks yourself whenever you're performing live, or if you're just jamming out. If you enjoyed the beats that I was playing in this video, make sure you check out my Bandcamp down below, where you can find just tons and tons of beat tapes that I've released throughout the years. And if you're interested in picking my brain just a little bit more, make sure you check my Patreon down below. There, you can book a one-on-one session with me for up to 1 to 2 hours, and we can talk about anything that you need to talk about related to music. So with that being said, you guys, I'm going to get out of here. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.